Good day, ladies and gentlemen. My name is Tony Onying, your key host on the Tony Onying Show. And today we are here to discuss mental health at the workplace. Joining me today is a teacher and a psychologist, none but a face that you're all familiar with. Let's welcome Gloria to the show. Hi, Gloria.
Hi, Tony.
Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, and maybe good night.
Good day, dear Tony. How are you doing?
I'm very, very well. Thank you. As you can see, we are here discussing mental health at the workplace. To get us started, what is your brief definition of mental health?
Mental health is individual self-realization to their inabilities to cope with stress.
To cope with stress.
Yes.
And stress, what brings about it, especially at the workplace? Maybe 1-2 things. What are the possible root causes?
Getting drained.
Okay.
And failing to manage constant demands.
Okay.
And most likely also exhaustion.
Exhaustion.
Yes.
From your personal experience, have you felt stressed before, maybe before you joined the corporate workplace, perhaps in the internship moment at the university, demand for coursework, demand for other things at home? Have you felt anything, and how did you manage it?
Yes, I have. Actually, during COVID-19,
Okay.
You notice that during COVID-19, people left their jobs, they were working from home, and it's a time when I had school. It was not that easy, but I managed it. One of the things that brought stress, at that time, I was volunteering with a certain company. I was studying, I was at campus, and it's a period where we were looking towards having exams, and I'm volunteering in that company. And remember, I want to get the soft skills. The fact that the company was training us online, so I wanted to get that soft skills.
Okay.
Yes.
It's a great one.
So I had to make sure I perform at campus, I perform in the company. So I found it a bit hard for me to balance. And the fact that in that company I was a bit trusted, because when I joined, I always want to put so much effort in what I do. So when I joined, I became more active, and they had to give me other positions.
Entrusting you with more duties.
Yes. That made me more active, and I was needed.
Did you at any one point feel like not taking up additional tasks? Because as long as you took up the tasks, school is asking you, your company already trusted you, and you're not about to disappoint them.
Yes, I did.
Okay.
I did.
So how did you manage to, go through? Did you sometimes have a conversation with your leader?
Yes, I actually would. At some point I would have the conversation with my leader, but you see, these leaders, sometimes it's not that everything you say they immediately understand. Especially when you're dealing with someone that is still at campus. At some point you feel they are becoming lazy, or they don't want to perform, or they don't want to do their work perfectly well.
That takes us to that theory of the perfectionist. We have the perfectionist leaders who feel like things need to be done well. They are not willing to understand your side of the coin. Now, maybe the last one for this session. Did this experience help you to cope better at your current workplace?
Yes, it helped me, because from that time I learned how to manage. I came to self-realization.
Okay.
Because I'm trying to work hard in this company. I'm trying to work hard at the university, because at the university I was a bit trusted by some of the lecturers. I was the group leader in most of the groups that we had at campus, and I had to manage. So what came into my mind was, yes, I want to perform in this company, and I want to perform at the university. Okay. Yes, in this company, I'm getting the skills, I'm getting the training, but what happens if I don't perform well at the university?
That's a great one, ladies and gentlemen. I believe that most of you identify with what Gloria went through. And the question is, did you remain fighting your leader? Did you remain hating the workplace? How did that eventually lead you to your current position? So when we get back, we're going to be going through some of the emotional symptoms of mental health, and of course the key thing there, stress. When you are emotionally drained, what happens? How is your deliverable? So we'll be getting back to you in just a second. Thank you. See you in a bit.
See you.
Thank you, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome back. So at this point, we're going to be going through some of the emotional symptoms that come along with failing to manage your mental health, which of course results into stress. So Gloria, please join us to get this started. Hi Gloria.
Hi, Tony.
Now, before we left, you were sharing with us that moment, how it felt like you were in school, you took up that effort to go and do some attachments, internships, trainings, because you were planning to be more relevant and employable after graduation. Am I right?
Yes, you are.
Great. Thank you very much. Now, when we look at some of the emotional symptoms of stress that many have identified with, we talk about being moody. I know we've had cases where people, it is this colleague who comes to the workplace every day stressed, every day is in a bad mood.
Sometimes they don't want to talk to anyone.
They don't want to talk to anyone. Sometimes they're even missing lunch. You get it? And how do you really keep your body working when you can't feed it? There are people who are always feeling overwhelmed. You wake up, come to office, you are overwhelmed. You leave, you're overwhelmed. There are guys having difficulty easing their minds. Like you feel your world has ended. Self-esteem has gone low. They are feeling so distressed, depressed, and to the extent that they are missing social activities with their colleagues. Now, from your experience and also as a mental health person, tell me something. How do you help these people deal with such conditions to be more productive?
One thing that I would advise these people, especially if you feel you have that low self-esteem, self-esteem can come in many ways.
Okay.
One, someone will appear at the workplace. I always tell my colleagues, try to stand out. Don't let anything put you down, because one, you got that job with the skills that they wanted.
Yeah. So you're important.
You're important at the workplace. So there is nothing that can put you down. First of all, don't care about what people say, especially when you present yourself. You're going to stand, maybe to give a speech or to talk about something, and you see people, I'm still talking about no self-esteem, and you see people maybe talking about something, whistling on something, and then you're like, they're talking about, maybe I'm not well dressed, maybe I'm looking shabby, maybe. That also makes you uncomfortable at workplace, which increases your low self-esteem. Because one thing that you have to put in mind is you still stand out.
You're great.
You're great. You still stand out because, you got that job alone. You were in that interview alone. So those people you're fearing do not know what or why the company brought you on board. Okay. So what I always tell my colleagues is stand out. Actually, there's something I recently was discussing about mental health at workplace, and told people that if you have your high heel, if you have your shoe, hit it. Hit your shoe as you come to work. Don't start feeling, now when I enter the workplace, when I enter office, people are going to look at me. Hit your shoe.
You remind me, usually when I'm watching these white movies, you find the way those bosses express their anger. They get a table, hit it. So at one point I wanted also to, throw a glass. But then I thought about how much it took me to buy.
You remember it as a movie?
The movie, that was like in the reality, you know, you can break a fridge. The movie, so, but I agree with that bit of kicking.
But that's not about mental health, right? So, at workplace, don't make yourself feel low. And these things, by the way, they come in the way we take ourselves. If you stand out and be like, yes, I'm great, like you said, I'm important, you will not feel anything.
Let me cut you short a bit, Gloria.
Self-esteem.
As we go into the low self-esteem, we have people who could be having racing thoughts as a result of the events surrounding them from home. Okay, the child is sick, the relationship is not working, and all those kind of things. How do you, get yourself alone, pretend that all is well, and move on? How do you do that?
Well, that's a tough one, by the way, because not everyone understands your situation when it comes to workplace. Even though you explain, at some point I'd be like, Tony's lying. He just wants to stay home. He just wants to. But one thing that I've always wanted, or I've always wished as someone who have studied mental health, is to have a boss who understands mental health. At least who have that background. Because you're going to come and tell that boss, my child is sick, I won't be able to make it at workplace, and that boss will not understand you.
But we never decide which boss we are to have.
Yes.
So it is still
yes.
another dilemma.
Yes.
Maybe let me print it this way, Gloria. From experience, some organizations have brought in, what do we call them? Some applications, some apps. We've heard of the Unminds, for example. You can go in, get some counseling. And as we discussed in our previous show, we're talking about the bit of, reading some books, watching movies, going on YouTube and checking out something. Do you think some of those things could help?
Yes, they could help. Of course, they could actually help more if you concentrate on reading those books.
How do we encourage the colleagues to actually create time for those things?
Actually, not everyone likes reading.
So how?
That's unfortunate. But there are many ways that you can create that for the employees. One, you can keep bringing different people to talk to them, because some people will not concentrate on reading the books, but they can be able to listen. Okay. Most of the times you've posted our videos here, and someone is not willing to watch. They instead want a transcribed video. You get? So you can understand different ways how people can take things, or people want to take things positive.
Great one. Thank you very much, Gloria. Ladies and gentlemen, as you've heard from the expert herself, I know most of you identify with this kind of conditions. You're constantly worrying, you're having those racing thoughts, you cannot focus, and sometimes you feel judged and your esteem is lost. So the question is, who is responsible for your destiny? I think from personal experience, every time you feel you're low, sometimes if you have to cry, get out and cry. It is okay.
It's good to cry.
Sometimes
it's very okay to cry.
From my side, Gloria, I have found peace in jogging, in running, in swimming. Sometimes you just disappear in that water for a moment and take a reflection. I like, every time I'm running, I put music.
What do you mean disappear from that one?
No, like just cover yourself, a moment of silence.
You mean swimming?
Yeah, swimming.
Yeah, okay.
Just a moment of silence. Even if you're in your bed, there's a moment that you just cover yourself in that blanket. Sometimes just inhale. Okay. And maybe the other thing which I would also like to encourage from personal testimony is, get a person you can talk to. We are human beings. Sure. You can't deal it out on your own. You always need people to talk to. You don't need 5 people. There is always one person who is willing to listen to you. Then the other thing is, read books. One time I was down, feeling really, really low. And when you're at that stage, sometimes you're going to make a decision where feeling stressed, let me express it this way, it's like making a decision when you're drunk. The moment that booze clears off your head, you come back to your reality. And sometimes you regret the decision you took. Sometimes you regret what you said. So take a moment to reflect back. Then lastly, also, books are important. You know, from a religious perspective, our Muslim friends would go into a verse in the Quran. Our Christian friends will go into a verse in the Bible. And then, of course, ourselves. There is life in reading books. Right now, I'm doing a book, and every time I read it, it gives me a different view of how to deal with my colleagues, or how to deal with my, with dynamic bosses.
A good one.
So, in a nutshell, I think at the end of it all, what Gloria is telling us, that you are responsible for your own self-esteem. So if you need it to work, then you have to do something about it. Wake up and do it, because also
it's all about you.
You have a family to look up to. And maybe, Gloria, the other thing perhaps to take away from this show is every time you wake up to go to work, even in rain, it means you have a responsibility behind you. You have rent to pay, you have fees to pay, you have medical bills to take care of. So are you going to be stressed throughout? Are you not going to stand up for yourself and change the narrative? So from your end, as we conclude, what do you encourage us at the workplace to pick up, especially when it comes to dealing with those dynamic, complex leaders who don't seem to understand our conditions? In just a minute.
Well, I encourage people at workplaces to always take responsibilities of themselves. You're not going to tag your problem on someone, because they do not understand you very well as you do.
Right.
Yes. So mind what you eat, mind what you say, mind what you do. You can take a moment during the day at your workplaces, and you just put on shoes. Those who like putting on high heels, you put on sneakers, move steps. There are always steps at workplaces. If there are not steps, move around the building. Yes, for like 30 minutes, for like 20 minutes, and come back and sit. You feel fresh.
So what we're saying is, there is a reason why in your contract the employer always mentions a break.
Yes,
in the HR manuals, there's always a break. Do not kill yourself. Take a moment of break. Do not eat from your desk. Get up and go to the canteen. Go to the cafeteria. Sit with friends. It is healthy. There's a reason why experts introduce such kind of moments.
And do not keep quiet.
Do not keep quiet.
Yes. If you have a problem, if you have an issue, please speak out. Once you speak out, you feel, your mind is
relieved. Someone shares it.
You don't have something, bothering you so much.
Okay. As my friends always say, that every time you look so annoyed, you're behaving like a samosa. So do not close your mouth and look like a samosa. Open up and be happy, because your health is your responsibility.
Your health matters.
It matters. Thank you very much, Gloria, for joining us today, and we look forward to having you again.
Thank you so much, Tony. Glad.
Great. All right. All the best, ladies and gentlemen. Don't forget to subscribe. We love you as always.
Like.
Thank you. Bye-bye.